This series is written chronologically. If you are new to the series, you must start at Season 1, Episode 1. Thank you. The Blood-Drawn Chronicles, Season 12, Winds of a Welcomed Winter, was written by Michael Bradley and produced by DigiFox Studios. Was brought to you in part thanks to the generous contribution of our patrons, William Wibbins and Zoe Robinson. Thank you, William and Zoe, for your generous donation. We'd like to take this time to thank you, the listener, for all your ongoing love and support during the making of this series. It has been a privilege for us to make this show. And now that we've come to closing with this final season, we want to say, what a journey it has been. Stay tuned after the show for a very special message. We'd also like to take this time to thank Lord Saunders from www.lordsaunders.com for the wonderful audio mastering of the episode you are about to enjoy. As always, thank you for listening. And now, our story continues. I continue with my thoughts as the rising sun finally comes upon us. A mirthful day is what I intend for today. And so I practice the art of putting a smile on my face. Yet as I do, as I prepare for the day in front of me, I hear it. A woman's scream coming from inside the castle. The kind brought on by fear. Quickly, I rush towards its location, only to find that the screaming came from the Duchess herself, who stood inside Alannah's bedroom. Pressed to ask the reason for her screams, I open my mouth to begin conversation upon seeing her. However, conversation is cut short as soon as I am well inside Alannah's room. And I see it. Blood on the bed, blood on the floor. A trail which I followed that took me to Alannah's locked stool closet. I kicked the door open to find Alannah lying cold on the closet floor. Her white nightgown dyed red in her blood. Gently, yet with haste, I nestle her warmly as I pick her up. Laying her once more on the bed, I remove everything off of her with blood on it. Regaining her composure, the Duchess runs to her cap closet and brings back fresh sheets and pillows for Alannah's bed. Together, we fix Alannah properly on the bed. Time passes, and I see no sign of her waking. Noting what must be going through my mind, the Duchess excuses herself and leaves us to our privacy. Further time passes, yet no change comes upon her. She is breathing, and that is all I can say for now. As I did with Little John's sister in the town of Winterbury, I placed my hand on her forehead in attempts to heal her from whatever ailment came upon her during the night. But my actions do me little good. Whatever harms Alannah at this moment supersedes my healing powers. Thus, I have no way of aiding her, and I find I must simply sit and wait, hoping for any sign. Time continues passing, dragging, yet still nothing happens, and then I note a slight movement in her belly. Removing her bedsheets to take a better gander, I now quickly note what I missed earlier. Her belly has grown larger overnight. Again it moves slightly, and I note the scent of blood. Sure enough, I find her blood is coming from her womb. Realizing there's no stopping this, I fluff pillows around her and simply try to make her as comfortable as possible. Still as a statue, I sit next to her, stroking her hair as time passes. "I love you, Alannah," I say, hoping that in some way she can hear me past her deep sleep. Placing my hand on her belly, I feel Malcolm moving again, and so attentive I am now that I even hear them outside whispering. Thus I stand from the bed and make my way to the door. I open it to find the Duchess on her knees with her ear near the doorknob and Woodrow firmly behind her. Both of them were a look of genuine concern. Thus I do not carry the conversation and simply help the Duchess off the floor. Once properly composed, I close the door behind me, then warmly say, "Thank you both for being here."
Of course, Myrick.
How is she?
I don't know.
Is she going to be all right?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, she's immortal, so she has to be all right. Am I right?
I'm afraid it may not be that easy, my dear Liz.
How do you mean?
Myrick is a Valpyr, Alannah is an elf.
And?
The two have never mixed before. What grows inside Alannah is a hybrid, a combination of both. A Valf, if you will.
A Valf? Now that doesn't sound right.
Half Valpyr, half elf. Valf.
And I'm saying that doesn't sound right.
Well, how else would you put it?
How about half elf, half Valpyr?
Then that would make it an
Elpyr.
And Elpyr. I like the sound of that better.
Of course you do. It's far more elegant of a name than a Valf.
Yes, I'd have to agree. What say you, Myrick?
I do not answer, as I have other more important things on my mind. Noting where he stood, he says,
I'm sorry, Myrick. We shouldn't be joking in a time like this.
Understanding where they came from, and the fact that I have done all I can, I cut him short by saying, "Actually, Woodrow, perhaps a little mirth is what is needed at a time like this. So I'll have to agree with the Duchess. Elpyr is what I would proclaim my son to be."
Then Elpyr it is.
Further time passes, and now the night sky has come upon us. What was supposed to be a mirthful day has turned into the complete opposite by the situation with Alannah. A situation which I thought was getting better, but just then, her cries call out to us outside her room as she begins screaming. Woodrow, the Duchess, and I enter the room to check on her, and what we find is even more blood everywhere. She still lays dormant, yet her belly has now grown even larger. Our child moves inside her, and that's when I realize Malcolm is feeding. Alannah is not Valpyr, or else this would not be happening. During her pregnancy, a Valpyr female is constantly feeding, as her baby feeds off of her. In the same manner, Malcolm's Valpyr side is feeding off his mother. But Alannah does not feed, which means Malcolm is feeding off of her, and her alone. "It's too soon, my son," I say aloud. "You're killing your mother too soon."
Killing her too soon? Wait, back up there. What do you mean he's killing her too soon?
He asks, as I just now realize that I blurted my statement for all the world to hear. Noting that now Alannah rests quietly for the time being, Woodrow takes me and the Duchess outside the room and asks,
All right, Myrick, what exactly are you not telling us?
Leave him be! Can't you see the man is in limbo?
Oh, I see a lot of things, believe me, most of which have to do with the fact that Myrick here is keeping something from us. Tell me the truth, Myrick. I want it right here, right now, or I'm out of here. I've put up with far too many secrets here on your end.
Noting the clear expression on his face, I lie and simply say, there's nothing to tell. Angered by my statement, he turns around and walks away, but not before saying,
I'm leaving.
Wait! Where are you going?
Where do you think? I'm going to Van Isla.
What? Why?
Why? To get help. Alannah is laying in a bed, out cold and bleeding herself to death, and none of us know what to do. At least in Van Isla, someone might have an answer to what's going on, or at the very least, what I can do.
As he leaves, the Duchess turns to me and says,
Myrick, talk some sense into him.
Seeing her sorrow, I realize then just how close Woodrow and the Duchess have gotten. Understanding the situation better than she, I simply say, be back before the 11th of April. Turning around once more, he merely says,
What are you not telling us, Myrick?
A moment of silence passes as our eyes lock, and all I say is, I'm sorry, my friend.
Of course you are, just not as sorry as me.
Woodrow, Myrick is...
Defend him, sure, go for it. Everybody else does. Myrick is so wonderful. Of course he is, because he keeps all his best secrets from the fairest sex. Know him as well as I do, and you'll start seeing a different Myrick entirely.
Woodrow, please. How will you even make it to Van Isla? You said yourself it's never in the same place twice. And even if...
His silver eyes.
What?
You want to talk about secrets, Woodrow? Tell us then about your silver eyes, or perhaps I should. You see, Liz, Woodrow here knows the location of Venta Isla because he's linked with Mother. Or, should I say, he switched his links. Isn't that right? So, you found a way to unlink yourself from the vampires by linking on to another immortal, Mother. Which is why you brought Oriana here. It wasn't just at Mother's command, was it? No, you wanted her as far away from your investment as possible, didn't you? Looking at me firmly, he approaches me and says,
Clever, very clever. We have to think so much alike for you to figure me out so easily.
That we would. Mentally, you are my equal, Woodrow. That's the reason I admire you so.
The fact you won't tell me what's wrong is...
All right, both of you, what is going on here?
What's going on here is close friends finally understanding each other.
He turns and begins exiting. Yet before he is out of sight, he says to me,
Don't worry, Myrick. I'll be back before the 11th. You have my word.
With that, he leaves us, before I utter my response. Yet still to the air, I whisper, I know you won't fail me, my friend. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to check out our other productions at www.foxplaybox.com. Also, check out the podcast series from Doc Ouija titled One from the Vaults Podcast at www.onefromthevaultspodcast.com. If you love a good horror story, then this podcast might just be what you're looking for. This has been Myrick Myerson and Nelson Ventura saying thank you for allowing us the opportunity to entertain you. We'll see you again in the next chronicle in the blood-drawn series titled The Black-Hearted Mr. White, coming later this year, 2018. Thank you, and good night.